Hi, welcome back to Cool Guy Stuff with your man Mike, the cool guy. And today I'm going to show you how to do a simple wheel swap on your vehicle. First problem for me to overcome is I'm using my summer wheels as a workbench. So I'm going to clean this mess up and then we'll get to it. Alright, there we go. Wheels are uncovered. So here's the ones for my minivan and here's the ones for my Cadillac. So we're going to try and do both today. Now I'm going to be using a bunch of tools like these sockets and other tools that I've accumulated over the years of doing this kind of stuff. You don't necessarily need these things. Like I'm going to be using an impact driver to zip off the wheels, but I'm going to show you how to do everything with just the basic tools that come with your car, okay? So you don't need this stuff. Alright, so I'm just looking here in the back of the Cadillac. So this is most cars. You're going to end up with your spare tire being in some kind of a case like this in the back. There you go. So there's your spare. It's just held on with this large wing nut kind of thing. Yours might look different, but it's the same basic principle. You just undo it. It's hand tight. I'm not going to bore you with filming it, but that'll be done in just a moment. Okay, so I've got the spare lifted out of there, right? And then in here, you can see here's the jack, right? This is called a scissor jack, and then we've got the other tools that are used to operate it. So it's a long, tedious kind of process. You have to basically hand crank the thing, but they work. And here is the tire iron to get the lugs off. Okay, so that's basically your tool to undo all your wheels and for potentially tightening your new ones. It's good to use a torque wrench, but if you don't own a torque wrench, you can use this, and you can always go by a shop and get them to just torque your wheels for you. So guys, if you have any questions about your particular vehicle, because every vehicle varies a little bit, your owner's manual here is your best friend. They all have the information for how to change your spares. So right in here, right, you can check everything you need about vehicle care, and right there, wheels and tires, right? And it's got technical data too, so that's where you're going to find the torque specs for everything, right? So everything you need to know is going to be in your owner's manual, okay? Okay guys, so step one, it's always a good idea to have your emergency brake on. Make sure that's on fully before you begin. Okay, so next step guys, so there are lift points on vehicles that will be outlined in your owner's manual. And every vehicle is a little bit different. Oh, sorry, hands in the way. All right, every vehicle is a little bit different, but this ridge right here usually has like a reinforced bracket kind of area where you can set your jack and lift it. If you are using a different style jack, like a flat-faced kind of jack like I'm going to use, anything that's part of the main frame is good. Anything that's part of the floors or the body, right, this kind of thing, no good. You don't want to put a jack on the body. So I've placed my jack right across that rear frame rail right there, okay? That's a good solid lift point. So it works great for a jack like this. Now the next thing, I didn't jack it up all the way. You can see that I've taken some of the load, well most of the load, I've taken the load off of the wheel, but the wheel is still just rubbing the ground. So that way when I start to undo those lug nuts, the wheel's not free spinning. Sometimes these lug nuts can be really challenging to get off because they've been zipped on there with an impact gun from wherever the car was last serviced. So what you do is you need to extend your leverage. So you use your breaker bar or your tire iron, whatever you've got, and take a pipe. Slide the pipe on the end, and there you go. You've just extended the length of your lever, right? Look how much easier that turns. Even Ethan could do it. Now all the lugs are loose. Now we can lift the car up the entire way so that that wheel is fully off the ground. Okay, there we go. Now we can take all those out and we can switch the wheel. Lug nuts are off, but this wheel is on there. It's stuck. So, what do? It's very simple. Give it a solid kick with the heel of your foot right at the top of the tire. Ready? Watch. There you go. Comes right off. Okay, we're about ready to put our new wheel on. I wanted to mention, guys, do be sure that when you're using your jack and it's not supported by anything else, do not get under the car. Do not put any body parts under the car. If it slips off the jack, you're screwed, okay? So this is perfectly fine for changing tires and things. Just be aware, be cautious. Alright, so new wheel is on. lug nuts are ready to go back on. Always start them by hand, okay? Get them on there like that. Make sure that they're threaded on properly, because if you start using tools like this to zip them on there, you could cross thread them, and then we're replacing these nuts and the studs, and yeah, it turns into a whole nother job. So start them all by hand. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this thing. It's called a torque wrench. Ethan's holding it right there. And it's the exact same process as taking these off, just in reverse. So we're going to lower the jack a little bit, just till the wheel is touching the ground and it's not able to spin. But we don't want to load on this when we do it. Okay, so here's our torque wrench. And on here we've got this little gauge that says foot-pounds. And this little collar here, you tighten this up to the setting that you want, and that's what it'll stop at. Well, it won't stop, it'll make a clicking noise. So, I know based on the owner's manual that this vehicle wants 110 foot-pounds, so that's what I'm going to set it to. Okay, you can see there, it says 110, and it's sitting on the 0. So if I went one more click, it'd be 101, or sorry, 111, 112, so on, right? That's how it works. So now that it's set, Ethan and I are ready to go ahead and torque this. Alright, so when you're doing this, you're going to want smooth, even pressure. You don't want to bounce or anything like that. It'll give you a false reading. Okay, there it goes, getting tighter and tighter. And you'll hear it click. There it is, that's the click. Okay? Click, click. You don't want to keep pulling. Alright, you can click it all day long, but you don't want to keep pulling. And then you're going to go in a star pattern. Okay, so right here, you're going to go over here. So you're going to go across, and then from this one, you're going to go across to that one, and that way, and then that way, right? So you're never going to go in a circle, because it'll tighten up one side more than the other side. So you always go in a cross pattern like that. Okay, so all of these have been torqued up now. It's always a good idea to go back to where you started and do them again, because now that the other ones have been tightened on, this one will be a little loose. There you go, see, just that little bit, but it was something. Alright, so we've torqued all of them around a second time. So now that that's done, we can release the jack, lower this down the entire way. There we go. And that's done. Now we just got to do 3 more. Second one's done, 2 out of 4. I'm lifting it on the front, right where the lower control arms there meet up with the frame. But do be sure to check your owner's manual for where the lift points are on your vehicle. Okay, there it is, guys. 4 brand new, super cool looking tires on our minivan. Alright guys, so when you're all done, you're putting away your tools and things, make sure you return your torque wrench back down to its lowest spec. Okay, so you want to take the pressure and tension off the spring that's in here to make sure that the calibration stays calibrated. Also, you can get these things calibrated by sending them to the manufacturer or wherever, and you should probably do that once a year. That's what's recommended for it. You know, I don't know. You can always check the owner's manual for these too or look it up online, but once a year I think is good. Hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial today. If you did, give me a like, a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any other cool stuff with me, Mike, the cool guy. Thanks very much. Take care.